Folks, fair warning, this following commentary is triggering and is guaranteed to piss you off. So if you easily get angered, you easily get pissed, I recommend not watching this commentary. But if you choose to, please leave your very angry and frustrated thoughts in the comment section, like I know you all will. Now, let's get to it. I just finished watching Michael Franzese's commentary about OJ Simpson, and it was titled OJ Simpson had wife Nicole murdered by the mafia in jealous rage. And Michael Franzese basically was talking about an article that was in the New York Post discussing OJ Simpson allegedly hiring two Gambino goons to slay Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman. And basically, he refuted. And, as I listened to his thoughts about the article, it just sounded like he was being a mob apologist. It just sounded like he knows what's going on with the Gambino family and how certain people get down as far as doing certain deeds. And he couldn't, and you know something, full disclosure, I'm not in the mob. I'm not in that kind of life whatsoever. But I am a man that, observes and believes in common sense. So as I listen to this story and as I listen to logic and everything, it seems like Michael Franzese, he just anointed himself as an official apologist for the mob. A person that's a born again Christian, person that got right against God, and he's just acting like the mob was just this sanctity, holier than thou organization that wouldn't do certain things. And part of me likes to believe that, yeah, they did have this code that they wouldn't kill people outside of life, and they wouldn't, do this to these people or that people. They only get people that are involved and whatnot. But this is the same Michael Franzese that said that the mob wasn't involved in drugs, and there are several examples of the mob being involved in drugs. And yet he's doing his infamous mob apology thing and saying, oh, we wouldn't do that. We wouldn't do that. I mean, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, but why I am on the subject, let's talk about the Mezzaluna. He did mention that. He did mention that his wife and his kids ate there, and that his kids and O.J. Simpson's daughter did go to the same dance school and whatnot, and he knew O.J. and him and O.J. had the same agent and all that other stuff. So he did have like a personal connection in this. But it's funny that he kind of skated past the Mezzaluna. It's funny that when it came time to talk about the O.J. Simpson trial, Mark Furman's name didn't come up. Faye Resnick's name didn't come up. None of the other names came up. It was just, oh, let's just do a Dorothy Hamill and do a figure eight on the ice skating rink and pretend that those names didn't matter in the case and those people weren't in the case. It's funny how certain individuals have selective memory when it comes to certain things. And throughout the commentary, he called Rodney King's thing a fiasco. It wasn't a fiasco, really. I mean, that quote unquote fiasco led to the LA riots, which raked up quite a tab in property damage for Los Angeles. But he ignored that as well. So when it comes to his thoughts and his observation on this, I kind of take this with a grain of salt because It would have been nice if Michael Franzese really got into the Mezzaluna because, you know, you as a part of that life, you have a lot of inside knowledge as you demonstrated in this video about the life. Why didn't you go into the nooks and crannies of the Mezzaluna? Because it's been said, and you can Google this for yourself, ladies and gentlemen. It's been said that the Mezzaluna was mob connected. It's been said that the Mezzaluna was like a hub for drug activity. And yet you skated around it. And I understand you're not really a fan of drugs because of the devastating effect they had on your siblings. I get that. But what I don't get is you omitting certain things so it could fit your narrative. That I don't get, really. You being a Christian, you being now an upstanding individual that changed his life around. You would think that we would have full disclosure about all these things, and yet we don't. You didn't even talk about that the stabbings and the cuts that Nicole and Ron did get was something that was called a Colombian necktie. So I do agree with this with Michael Franzese that maybe the Gambinos didn't have anything to do with it because likely it wasn't their MO. Maybe it involved the Colombian cartel. Now here's another thing that really wasn't discussed. That restaurant in question, other than Nicole and Ron, two other people connected to the Mezzaluna pretty much died the same way. How come you didn't bring that up, Michael Franzese? I'm just saying. I'm not sure who you have on your team doing all this research and stuff, but I detect a hint of bias here, especially if the mob was involved in the Mezzaluna restaurant. And it's funny that, like, you know, 2 years after the acquittal of OJ Simpson, the Mezzaluna is closed and it was raised and now it's completely something else. It leads me to believe that, you know, a lot of eyes were now being on the Mezzaluna. So if they didn't close pretty soon, they was going to launch a federal investigation against them, considering that it was just a drug hub and a hangout for a lot of unsavory characters. But it's a shame. Nobody wants to bring that up, really. And I wonder why you won't bring that up. Chances are, in a future video, you're never going to bring that up. But I don't know. It was just interesting. I seen this video on my timeline and I couldn't get away without adding my 2 cents on this. And that is my 2 cents. And I'm sure that's going to trigger a lot of you people out there that are just going to come in my comment section and stand up for Michael Franzese. So, audience, tell me what you think. Let me know in the comment box. This is Iron Will Media.